The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Nicole Hutchison, along with Amber Garcia and Mr. Isaiah Stanback.
I'm the boy.
What's that? Girls Talk in the SWBC studio. Sorry, I got a little excited, guys. How y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm sad, though.
Why you sad?
It's our last time together. Just saying. Y'all didn't...
That was supposed to be said. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Yeah, we going back to the normal schedules.
Yeah. Sound effect was great, Jess.
Yeah, it's okay.
Man, I mean, we've got some time to really think about the Dallas Cowboys. We had a bye week. Now it's time to talk ball. Did y'all watch the Eagles game yesterday?
Yep. Watched every moment of it.
All right. What scares y'all the most about... Okay, wow. Dang, I can't even get my thoughts out.
Go ahead.
What scares y'all the most about this Eagles team taking down the Dolphins yesterday? I think it was 31-17. It's a lot to be scared about, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, there's a lot to be scared about. So when I think about the Eagles, we hopping straight into this.
Yeah,
huh?
Okay. We'll talk Cowboys, Rams, and a few, and break down
Their defensive front is disgusting. And when I say disgusting, I mean that in the most respectful way. What they've done in the draft the last 2 years is absolutely ridiculous. And everybody allowed them to do it. Everybody passed on players. They passed on Big Davis. They passed on Jalen Carter and allowed these guys to get both of those monsters in there to the point where now you have Fletcher Cox sitting on the bench. You have Jalen Carter coming off the bench sometimes, and you just have this rotation of just complete dogs up front that are starters on any team. Literally, they have two waves of guys that are starters on any team. And you can say the same thing about the defensive end position for the Dallas Cowboys, but the interior defensive linemen now allow for them to run a defensive set in a 3-4 that you typically would feel confident running against, but you can't run against that 3-4. And they make it hard. And once you're able to take away a team's, one third of their game, 1/3 of their attack, in terms of the running game, it makes it very difficult in terms of progressing the ball down the field, regardless of how explosive you have guys that you have on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have talent, but you'll never hear me say anything about the Eagles scare me. I would never put that word next.
Oh,
no.
you're that person.
Yeah, I'm that person.
Oh.
I'm that person.
He's confident.
It's not about that. It's just like there's no other team. Well, yeah, there are other teams, but because now the 49ers have gotten up there. But look at it any way you want. I am not intimidated by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. What do you respect about them? Let's look at that. Let's just change the word.
Again, you have to appreciate some of the talent that is in there, because that is what makes sometimes a very fun, competitive game to watch, and what makes it a lot more exciting when you're going to face that team that's definitely one of your biggest rivals in obviously in your division, but all in the NFL as well. But we've seen it too when going up against a divisional opponent, how things can change, and you never know what a game is actually going to turn into and who's going to be benefiting from that game that week. So I think if we talk about the Cowboys versus Eagles, which will happen in a couple of weeks, that's coming right around the corner. Talent-wise, I think currently they seem to be in the upper level right now. But that's not to say I don't trust some of the things that the Cowboys have. And going back to the whole ref and officiating of things, something needs to happen around the league and the NFL of just improving some of the calls in general, because we've seen it back to back. I think
you talking about the face masking?
They finished with no penalties yesterday, so that was kind of wild.
Yeah. But I'm saying some of those things that happen in that game, you're just like, sometimes it makes you wonder, okay, what is this really? You don't know what's right or wrong anymore sometimes when it comes to whether there's a call or something that's not being called. So it's just, it sucks because we know how much a penalty can cost you in a game, and we've seen it happen before. So it just, when you don't find any type of consistency when it comes to the officiating of just a game in general, whether it benefits you or the opposing team, it just sucks all in all. And I think that in general needs to be fixed.
So you think that the referees had an impact on the game yesterday?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And you can say one was a better team in general, and that's fair to say. But at the end of the day, if it does affect the outcome one way or the other.
Of course.
I'm gonna have to be the tiebreaker of that one. I can agree with the officiating, but I mean that Eagles team has they got some dogs in every position. I mean, starting with, of course, Jalen Hurts. Then you go to the receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like, those are elite route runners. And
Hurts had a rough day.
And Hurts exactly. But he was still able to extend plays, and make things shaken. I mean, I think that, and then I think they just added All-Pro safety Kevin Byard. It's like they
did that today?
They just did that maybe 20 minutes ago. Breaking news. Yeah.
So
now you add.
Listen, I know a lot of people are. Listen, I was drafted by the Cowboys, played for the Cowboys, never played for Philly, right? I know a lot of people refuse to give credit where credit is due, and because of team affiliations and loyalty. I hear you and I get it. However, I'm a realist. Big kudos to the Philadelphia front office. Like, they are probably the most aggressive front office in the league, and because of that, you hear their names in the front of the NFC every single year. Same thing with San Francisco. They've been one of the most aggressive teams in free agency and trades and all those things in the last few years. And
that's what's impressive, the short amount of time that they've been able to do all those moves in acquiring talent and being able to manage everything under the cap, and make it work. That is very, very impressive.
Yeah, kudos. I can't believe they got Byard.
Yep. Yeah, a scary addition to that side. Now the Eagles, you look at them, they're 6-1, leading the NFC East. Cowboys right behind them. Then you've got, of course, the Giants and the Commanders. Giants beat the Commanders yesterday, so that's they play them in a couple of weeks. But let's talk about this Rams-Cowboys game.
Okay.
Guys. You sound stressed.
I am.
You sound very stressed right now.
We can't name names in terms of people that I would love to see Dallas trade for, because people are on rosters and we don't need any tampering issues. But there are some people out there that I would be hopeful that Dallas would be making phone calls on. Even most teams would not call on some of the people that I have in my mind, because they seemingly are off limits. But in this NFL, nobody's off limits. And you have to take your shots, and you have to understand where you're at as a organization. You have to understand how close you are. Are you in striking distance to actually being competitive to be able to go get a chip, go get a ring? And then you have to make the moves that put you in the best position possible. Yeah. And I feel as if too many organizations play towards the future. Like, we got to position ourselves for a run, in a couple years, or we got to position ourselves because of salary cap. And I'm like, you play to win a ring. And you have to do what you have to do to get that ring. And I think Philadelphia has done a heck of a job. And I'm hopeful that Dallas took steps forward this offseason, and being more aggressive. And I was very proud of them. They stepped way out of their comfort zone. They pulled off the B. Cooks. They pulled off the Gilmore, right? It's like, okay, they pulled these parts out, and I hope that continues. I hope they keep that energy. I hope they try things that other teams are unwilling to try to bolster this team, because windows close, and the chances of you keeping your entire defense together. Yes, you are able to secure your entire secondary. You have, you got some guys that, Trayvon that you are able to secure. You have Micah that you have to figure out.
Is coming up.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
there's
a lot of guys. Yeah,
Dak.
and the reality
Whether
is
people want to hear that
you're
or
not. You're not going to make everybody happy, and chances are you're probably not going to retain everybody. That's just the reality of this game. Guys are going to go chase the bag. Whoever's going to give them the bag, that's where they're going. I'm sorry, Cowboys Nation, but that's where this game has gotten. Right, you've gotten to the point where players have to take care of themselves, and that comes in light of having to get their money in a short window of time. And if your organization that you're currently playing for isn't going to give you that bag, sorry, I have to go get this bag.
Yeah.
So you might lose some of these players. So knowing that you might not retain everybody anyways, take your shot. Like, take your shot at some cats that you, like, they would jump off the screen like there's no way they just pull that off. Like, yeah, okay, let's go.
So then let's just go towards that conversation. What position group do you want to upgrade then? Since the trade deadline is coming up in about a week, what position are you going after?
So there's one player in particular that I think about on the offensive side. Okay, offensively, I think, because when you think about trades, you're not trading for the future.
Yeah.
In my mind, if you're trading at this time of the year, you're trading because you're making. I need somebody to come in now, like what Philly just did. Like, that's our secondary is a little. That's our only soft spot that we have on our defense. Let's make it strong, right? Let's have no weaknesses at all. Okay, impenetrable. So I think Dallas. I think there's one running back in particular that the team probably wouldn't give them up, but you could take your shot. And I think if they were able to grab this one running back, I think it would add a whole nother dynamic, knowing that Tony Pollard isn't on contract beyond this year. So I think that's an opportunity. I also think that you can come out there and get another big boy on the interior defensive line. I'm talking about another run-stopping Jonathan Hankins type of person that he can play next to. Or if Hankins, God forbid anything ever happened to Hankins, you're not now sitting up there twiddling your thumbs trying to figure out how do you fill that void. Because right now he's honestly your one big-time run stopper. I mean, he is. There's other guys that are making.
Smith has not paid out.
Not yet. Not yet. And I think he will. But it's just some guys take longer than others to catch on. And right now he's one of those guys. Just no shot at him. It's just not happening in the time span that everybody was hoping. So if you lose Jonathan Hankins, you are now back in the same position because the guy that you drafted to play alongside him hasn't developed yet. So what options do you have if something goes wrong in that regard? Get somebody else for a sense of security. That's the only way teams are running the ball against you. 46, 47% of their snaps, they're running the ball. So that's how they want to attack you. Discourage them from running the ball against you by getting another big dog on the inside. So that's my thoughts. I know a lot of people are going to say, we need another receiver. Well, you got to find a way to get the receivers you have now the ball.
Yep.
So that's not it. I think that the interior defensive line will make a huge difference for this team. And I think if you can there's only one running back out there that I would go grab that would be like a shocking, like, what the heck? How did they do that? And if they did that, I think this running game would turn up.
Well, that's interesting because I think you currently do have some very capable backs on the team. Yeah. It just we haven't seen it. It hasn't clicked. And that goes along the whole offense in general. You talk about wide receiver. Yes, you definitely would want a weapon like that on offense, but nothing like on paper. You think this offense looks pretty good, should be pretty good. You shouldn't have the issues that you currently have. You shouldn't be so like you still don't know what you have on the team. Like, you don't know what your offense really is just yet. But it's not clicking. Yeah. So to me, I would say if I was looking to add some talent, I would go to the defense and add somebody in the secondary. I think I don't like saying this because I still think that Gilmore is a very capable corner and he is a veteran, has a lot, but there is some part of his game where he'll be slow, and I feel like Deron Bland, he's done an amazing job taking on that role, but you can't leave everything up to him. I think you're lacking a little something after you lost Trevon Diggs with the injury. And the defense, unfortunately, has not gone back to being that defense that we initially thought we had at the beginning.
I agree with you at the cornerback position. I think if there was a corner out there that you can get that is classified as a shutdown corner, there's only about 3 or 4 of those in the entire league. Right, so the probability of a team giving up a cornerback is probably
those are
slim.
hard to find.
Unless there's some issues they're having out there with the organization, it's slim to none that you're going to get that. But I do agree that would be a position that I would go after. I wanted to go back to the offense. Like, the offense is not doing bad.
Yeah,
it's just not as explosive and flashy as people are used to. Right. And that's something I talked about all through training camp, that this, whatever you have in your head in terms of this offense and what it's been, like scrub that, like, and get your etch and sketch out and erase that out the way and start blank, because this is a new offense. It is not going to look the same. It's not going to feel the same. It's not going to look the same. Offensively, they're 6th in the league in terms of average rushes per game. They're getting 30 rushes a game.
Yep.
Okay. 9th in the league in terms of rushing yards per game, 119 yards per game. That's
which
top
is
10.
crazy, because when you're watching the game,
doesn't
not
feel like
paying
it.
attention to the stats, it definitely does not feel like that.
So we're talking about, that's 2 stats top 10, right, in terms of the rushing game. 4th in the league in third down conversions. 47% on third down conversion. So not only are you running the ball effectively, but you're actually sustaining drives because of it.
You said they're 4th on third down?
Yeah, 4th in the league on third down conversion.
Wow.
Okay, and then Dak is 4th in the league on 69.7% in terms of his completion rate. Doesn't feel like it.
no.
Yeah.
So statistically, they're doing a good job. Now, where are they sloughing at? Well, they're 11th worst team in terms of sacks.
Yeah.
Okay, they've given up sacks on 7% of their passes. Okay, and that's after Dak escaped 5 sacks last week as well. Okay, so they're struggling up front trying to figure out that aspect. With the red zone, that's something that stuck out in everybody's mind. So they're moving the ball, but are they putting it in the end zone? Yeah. Right, so those are things that are sticking out in people's minds. And the big plays. People are used to seeing big plays around here. Well, the only way you're going to see big plays around here is if you can get that running game going with the explosive plays on the ground. Not just the effective plays, not just the 4 or 5 yard runs. Like, you have to have those splash plays to get those teams to come out of 2 high safety and go down to 1 single high safety. Yeah. Now you can get those big plays over the top. So just wanted to kind of bring that full circle, because a lot of people are really, they don't feel good about this offense right now. And I'm like, listen, for a brand new offense with a brand new coordinator, with a brand new system, brand new terminology, like, they're not doing half bad. It just doesn't feel right. Like,
well, because you can accumulate all those stats throughout a game, but are you scoring?
Yeah,
and
that's the issue.
Point.
Yeah.
That's the whole issue there. Is like, you see them driving down the field at times really, really good, and then they get into now the red zone issues, and they're unable to score. And I think that's where some of that perception falls into when those stats don't translate into points.
I agreed.
What's y'all's confidence level in this offense? I mean, you just ran off the stats, but what's your confidence level in this offense through the first 7 weeks? Really?
I feel, honestly, I understand this offense because I've been in this type of offense before. Mm-hmm. So I have a perspective and an outlook that most people don't. So I know where this offense can be and most likely will be towards the middle part of the season. We're not even in the middle of the part of the season yet. So, like, by that time, I think that Coach McCarthy will be hitting his flow. I think he's going to get his ebbs and flows. The communication will be on point, right? Mm-hmm. The substitution, the personnel groupings, the formations, the shifts, the motions, like, all that stuff has to come into play, where you're still keeping your foundational pillars of your offense, but you're just making it look different. That's the West Coast system, right? You might run the same 7 doggone routes all day long, but guess what? I'm going to move you around, and I'm going to change the leverage. I'm going to change the motions. I'm going to make sure that this is the matchup that I want. I'm going to put you in motion. Okay, they didn't adjust. Okay, I'm going to bring you back now. Like, there's a whole lot of intricacies to the offense that they will get there, and I think you saw some of that last week. You started to see some of those things show up. Like, okay, they're moving CD around. Okay, you saw Turpin a couple weeks ago. Oh, Turpin, shoot, they moved Turpin around. Oh, here we go, touchdown. Mm-hmm. They moved CD around. Okay, they adjust some things. Okay, he ran a slant route, but guess what? They moved guys around. The linebacker now moved 5 yards inside, and now CD has an open slant. So there's a lot of things like that are going to continue to present themselves, but they have to get comfortable.
Yeah, to me, I think if you take the emotions out of everything on paper and everything that I just said, it looks okay. Like, this is something we can work with. But when you put emotions inside, which is me, I'm a very emotional person. I go through a whole roller coaster of things, and I've only been working here and following the Cowboys for like 10 years. So I haven't been following the team or the NFL as long as many
Wait, you said
of their
10 years?
Yeah, I know, right? She just
Yeah.
kind of threw that.
Wait,
like
you just threw that
yeah, like it was nothing. I know.
Like,
I know.
whoa.
We're peons over here.
Oh my
No, I'm
God.
playing. I'm playing with you. Go ahead, girl.
Now I feel really old. Yeah, it's yeah. Let's
wow.
just forget about
Yeah.
that part. Yeah, forget that.
Sorry.
But my point is that when you put the emotions into the whole thing of like the trajectory year after year after year, and you get to a point where, for me, this year I really thought we were up here. Beginning of training camp, you see everybody on offense, you start putting all the pieces together. I'm like, man, we look good. You know, we have the talent there. And then it's not really translating as you thought it would be.
Okay.
And then what we just said, you're watching what they currently are right now. Things are not really clicking. You're still figuring out what are they, who are they. But you still holding on to that belief that you know the talent that is there, and so you can envision it. But then you go back and you're like, okay, can they actually start piecing everything together and making things click in this amount of time? Like, how long is it gonna take to get there? So I go through a roller coaster of all kinds of emotion of, yes, holding on to hope, I see the talent, they have it there, it just needs to finally click, and it will at some point. But how long is that gonna take? And that's where I kind of just swift back and forth. Of
Hopefully
like,
before
I was going to say now
mid-November.
there's a sense of urgency now.
Man.
They got the Rams this week, the Eagles next week, so it doesn't get any easier. But we're going to be right back right here on Girls Talk Boys Talk. Stay with us.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And this segment is presented by Rally Days. They presented by SeatGeek. Give NFL fans an experience of a lifetime the day prior to Dallas Cowboys home games. On October 28th, enjoy activities at Miller Lighthouse, get a behind-the-scenes tour of AT&T Stadium, and more. Visit attstadium.com/rallydays for more information and to get your tickets today. Ooh. Sounds like some fun. My parents are actually coming down here for the game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm getting them
Nice.
tickets. It's going to break my bank, but it's okay.
Are you a daddy's girl or a mama's girl?
Definitely a daddy's girl. I don't know. A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of spoiled.
Oh, kind of. You admitted that. That must mean you're really spoiled then. Oh, my Lord.
Just a little bit.
You must be super spoiled.
Yeah, just a tad bit. Let's continue on this conversation, guys. Let's switch gears to the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
How do you feel like you got, as a, I guess, coaching perspective for you both, how can you, I guess, help maintain the identity of this Dallas Cowboys defense? They've been so known for being aggressive and, pressuring the quarterback and getting turnovers and things like that. They got back to that last week, but we haven't seen that on a consistent basis. So put your coaching hats on, coordinator hats on. I want to know y'all's thoughts.
I think this defense is improving. I truly do. I believe they're improving simply because of the fact they're being more effective in defending against the run. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Big Jonathan Hankins, shout out to Oso Odigizua, shout out to D-Law. Those guys have all stepped up to be influential players in that regard. And because of that, they're able to start doing what they do best, and that's rushing the passer. what happened against the Chargers would not have happened hadn't it been for the rush defense. Yeah. You're talking about you shut down Eckler, one of the probably the most versatile running back in the league next to McCaffrey, who you faced the week before. He's the most versatile guy that right behind him, and you shut him down 27 yards. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. That's obviously in the running game. That's obviously getting the ball to him in the passing game as well. Marquise Bell did a good job of shutting that down. So these guys are doing a great job up front and negating the other team's number one threats in terms of running backs. And I think that's going to pay dividends. Now, Dan Quinn's going to have to continue to get in his bag because I think teams are starting to figure out how to defend or how to stop the pass rush. Yeah. We started out at the top of the league in terms of sacks. Now we've fallen down to 17th, right in the middle of the pack for sacks, and with, average of 2.7 sacks per game. The reality is teams have loaded up, and this team has the personnel to get there, but they have to find a way to continue to remain impactful in that regard. Moving guys around, stunts. I think that they've stopped doing as many stunts as they once were because of their intentionality of stopping the run. Mm-hmm. So when you were doing all those stunts, you were giving up big runs. You go back to the Arizona game, a lot of those big gaping holes were because they were stunning out of holes, right? So when I'm stunning out of my hole, I'm going up there, I'm selling out for the sack, but I'm giving up literally 1 to 2 running holes for running backs to be able to run through. So if I don't want to do that, then guess what? I have to defend the run now, and now I'm less capable of getting to the quarterback. So something has to give, and I think that now they're more so resting assured and, hey, you just got to win your one-on-one matchups, and I'm not going to add as much scheme to the pass rush. It's more so just a matchup now. Hey, Micah beat that guy. Osa beat your guy. Like, everybody just head up, try to win. I'm not going to scheme you in position because it leaves us vulnerable in the running game.
Yeah, well, we know everything starts up front, and how the defensive line goes affects everything else. I think, maybe their focus has kind of switched a little bit into trying to stop the run, because we've seen it before. That was their 1 week, like, how do you say that? Weakest their Achilles heel. Achilles. What do you say?
Achilles heel.
What is that saying?
Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Yeah. I'm thinking in Spanish, trying to translate here. But yeah, their weakest area. Yeah. It was stopping the run, and they've managed to do that, or improved at doing that. I think you do have enough guys up front where people that can get to the quarterback. I mean, everybody you just mentioned on the line, there's so many guys up there that you can still, I think, find a way to go back into creating so much more pressure and attacking the quarterback and getting those sacks. To me personally, I'm better with knowing there's pressure rather than caring about sacks. That to me, sacks is, it's great when they're coming your way. Yeah. But at the same time, just pressuring the quarterback, because I think that does create the opportunities where this defense has been able to get their hands on the ball. You get their own blend intercepting and getting his hands on the ball. So I think it's just figuring out. But again, you go back to injuries, it does affect the whole thing. Or like now you're having to use Micah a little bit more at linebacker, that you weren't doing that as much before. And you kind of, they're not going to ever, I don't think, put him just at linebacker. They're going to keep using him to create some pressure there. But even with him, a guy like him, you've seen in the past few weeks where teams have been able to kind of get a hold of him, like handle him a little bit. But again, you have other guys that does create opportunities to allow other players to kind of get to the quarterback. So we'll see how they keep trying to improve things. I trust Dan Quinn very, very much. And going back to what you were saying, Isaiah, of losing people and you never having the same team or the same people around, that's my guy. Dan Quinn, I love him. And it's been incredible, the fact that 2 years in a row, they've been able to keep him when we didn't think that was going to happen, let alone twice.
He just didn't want to leave. He just didn't want to leave.
We'll see what his future looks like. But I think every year it does look hard. Well, I don't want to speculate and get that far down the road. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
We're gonna run through the position groups real quick. I want to see a rating. Think of this like Madden rating, but it's gonna be 1 through 5. 5 being the best.
Okay.
1 being terrible.
Is it best on the team or best in the league? Like,
And the team on the team. Sorry. We're gonna start with. Let's start with QB room.
QB room?
Let's just go with Dak Prescott first.
Can we do points, decimals?
Yeah.
All right, I give Dak a 2.7.
Why?
I think he's doing a better job of some of his decision making. I still think that he can be more impactful in terms of making plays. I think you saw glimpses of that, but I think he has to be more consistent with that. Now, I can't sit here and tell him when to feel comfortable running the ball or when to feel comfortable, making guys miss, whatever it might be. You see some of that showing up more consistently. So I think he's starting to get his spider senses back in that regard. But I still see him struggling to make good decisions as well. So, and a lot of the decisions that he's made bad choices on are against very simplistic looks. So that kind of worries me at times.
To me, I would say maybe like a 3.5, if maybe. But to me, I don't put it all on him. I think that Mike McCarthy, the way he's changing things, it just hasn't benefited Dak the way that maybe he was hoping to. I think there has been some clashing there where this new style offense is just not really working to who Dak has been as a player in his career so far. But I think last week we started seeing some of that improvement of just letting him be a football player, like letting him be a quarterback and trust his instincts and letting loose and just play with your body reacting to things without overthinking everything. So again, I don't put it all on him. I think it's a combination of him being placed in a different scheme, scenario, mold that he doesn't quite fit in just yet.
Running back room. Who wants to go there? Do you want to go first, Amber?
Running back as a whole.
Yep.
I would give it. Well, I was gonna say 3, but then thinking back to the stats that you brought up earlier, I mean, yeah, statistically, number-wise, it does appear to be better than what my eyes see at times. So maybe we had a point. I would say 3.5 for them. And again, not all in them. I think the O-line struggles there have affected the running game a whole lot, and that goes hand in hand. But I still believe you have a good running back group. I think they're capable. And Tony Pollard taking on that role, not that he can't, but he's taking on so much more workload than he's used to. You're asking so much more of him. Even blocking, at times that he's required to do some of that. So I think... he's having to deal or take on a bigger charge than what he's used to, and maybe that's kind of a reflection of what we see at times.
I give him a 4.2.
4.2.
4.2.
You gave him a
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, I give him 4.2. I think everything that you've asked of them, they've been successful with it. Aside from, Deuce Vaughn. I mean, he's been thrown in some bad situations, but Rico's come in. He's been nothing but a hard-hitting running back, falling forward every time he gets the ball. TP's doing a great job. His average is high, just not getting as many touches or big splash plays that you would like. There's more so just kind of moving and change type plays. So they'll continue to improve in terms of giving them more opportunities, but the opportunities that they have received, they've done a great job with them.
Receivers.
Wait, what about you? You should throw in your own score.
I'd give them probably a 3.2.
Oh.
I'd say dang.
Oh.
I would only say that just because, kind of going back to Amber, I think what they're doing statistically is good, but I just feel like we haven't really gotten that run game going. We haven't really.
You think that's on them?
I don't think it's on them. I think it's. I don't want to. I'm sorry.
Say it with your chest.
I think it's kind of the play calling.
Okay.
just kind of playing too conservative. I know that was kind of like the angle that Mike McCarthy wanted, but I think it's a little too conservative. So I'd like them to get more touches. Tony, especially Rico, we've seen what he's been able to do. Why are you laughing? What's funny? No, I mean, I just don't think that they've really gotten those guys going. I don't know.
What was the joke here?
When I think of conservative, I think back to old school church. Like, you know, like you have to wear your stockings. You want to take stockings off. You know, they just show a little leg. You know, show a little leg on offense.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Maybe
that's it.
Yeah, some like open toe heels.
That's
you know,
it.
like,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
like,
you got a little something.
A little something.
Yeah.
I give them a 3.2. I want to see more from them. A lot more. Kind of like the receivers. I want to see a lot more with them too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the receivers? What's your score on them? Come on, you gotta say it with your chest. You'll walk past one of them tomorrow. It's okay.
You're right. With how I know they can be, let me start there.
Whoa,
Wait.
whoa. We're not going off of future. What is this?
Okay, right now I would give them maybe like a 3.7. I'd say 3.7.
Okay.
Again, we haven't really seen much of them. We saw, of course, CD have a big outing last weekend or the weekend before. Sorry, my days are all running together. In week 6, but I still want to see a lot from Brandon Cooks. I mean, I feel like I've said this a lot. You went out and got a guy who has speed, who can add to this roster, who's explosive, and he had multiple 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, and 4 out of his 5 other teams, and then he comes here and it's like 1 touchdown. I don't really like that. I want to see more from him. Yeah, Michael Gallup, I need to see him do better. Yeah, I'd say 3.7. Now, what they can be, that group can definitely be a 5.
Okay.
I think they could be a top receiver room in the league.
I give them a 3.7 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bump them up 3.8. I just want to see them create more separation on one-on-one matchups.
Yeah.
I think teams are starting to try to take away the run. I don't think teams are really threatened by Dak's throwing ability right now because of the offensive scheme. Yeah. So I think they're getting a lot more man-to-man than you ever anticipating, and then they haven't been creating a ton of separation there. So I think they need to improve upon that. But I think the majority of the opportunities that have come towards Cooks or CD have been on point. Gallup, you have to play within what he's able to do.
Yeah.
You guys are very generous, I feel. Or maybe I'm a tough critic. That's hard love. I was thinking more of a 2.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yes, I know.
Wait, I was not expecting you to say that.
They have been... Okay. By my initial evaluation of what I thought they would be, they have been absolutely terrible, but not by their own doing. I think it's more of the change of offense and
how you can't hold that against them.
Okay, we're talking. I'm not saying it's for the players. I think this is the result of it. The result of it. If you had to rate what they're given as a result, the result is what it is.
Gotcha.
So I'm not putting it on them because I still think they are so talented. You have a lot of really good guys at the wide receiver group, and there are a lot of times that you see them open. Like Brandon Cooks, open. Often. Is the ball getting to him? No. So it's more of.
I feel like you ran into that same problem last year with a late season acquisition.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways. The point is, I'm not holding it against the actual talent. It's more of, I would say, the play calling and the how you're scheming things for them. I think that's a perfect example. CeeDee Lamb, when we saw it a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when him being upset and getting mad in a game, that's something we haven't seen him do ever. That was the first time I ever saw him actually be upset on the sideline, and I think it's a buildup of things not going his way. And then what happened the next week? They worked together, they improved things, and he was able to be pretty impactful. Not at I would have wanted to see more of him instead of them forcing the ball to Michael Gallup, but I think the talent is there. They're just not being schemed the right way.
So you mean like when CeeDee Lamb spoke up the next game, he got the ball early and often, kind of like Amari Cooper. When he spoke up, he got the ball early. I'm just saying just commonalities, that's all.
All right. Well,
History repeats itself sometimes.
All right, guys, we're gonna be right back, right here on Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Welcome back into Welcome into Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and it's spooky season at the Star. Join us on Saturday, October 28th, for a Halloween spooktacular brought to you by Mars Candy. Trick or treat from 30-plus restaurants and shops in the Star District. Plus, enjoy a performance from a magician, spooky tunes from a live DJ, crafts for the kiddos, and more out on Tostitos Championship Plaza. This event is free. Ooh, free. We love free. And open to the public. Visit thestardistrict.com for more information.
I've seen this Jigsaw vehicle out there in the Star sometimes. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
I haven't seen it.
You guys have that downloaded? No? No? Okay.
No.
Sounds like you do.
No, I don't. I do not. I'm actually beginning.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on our conversation. I think we wrapped up at receivers. Let's go to offensive line. Who wants to go first? What is so funny?
O-line. Okay, O-line. Let's go with, I'm not even looking at her right now.
Your poor wife.
I can't have that app. Y'all can. Okay, so O-line, I'm going to give a 2.3. 2.3.
Okay.
They have not been good. They have not. I mean, ever since you got your 5 starting linemen back, they have not. They're not as cohesive as they want to be right now. They will get there, I believe, as long as everybody can remain healthy. They'll continue to improve, but right now, that's just not good.
But that's not on. That's not on.
No, it's on them. It's on them. Yeah, they're not blocking very well. They're not. Dak's getting a lot of pressure in his face. They're not passing off responsibilities very well. They don't have gap integrity. They're not staying conjoined at the hip. There's a lot of things like they're not one unit yet. They're 5 guys that are good individually, but they're not a unit yet. So until they become a unit, they're at 2.2.
Well, that's what I kind of was leaning towards of why it's not on them, because I mean they haven't played much together. But I mean, I guess we can't use it.
No, I'm not hearing that. No, they have to figure it out.
I'm not hearing that. You said last week you talked about them practicing together and being cohesive.
They've been practicing together
tape.
since camp.
Jazz, play back the tape.
They've been practicing.
Running back.
No, listen.
Running back.
No, listen. I mean, like, they have to figure that the stuff that they're facing is not like crazy. Like it's you still have to be impactful and effective with it, right? You have to handle your assignment, but like, it's not like who was a D coordinator for Buffalo back in the day? I can't remember his name. Anyways, they're not facing defenses that are just coming out with some stuff out the wazoo. Like, this is normal stuff. The Chargers probably presented the craziest looks in terms of pressures, in terms of their techniques. They had guys way outside the tackle box running stunts. That is difficult in terms of being able to stay with your integrity in terms of where you should be and making guys come to you. But other than that, they just haven't been awesome, and they haven't been dominant in the running game in terms of moving people off the ball. And I think that's more worrisome than anything. Dak's getting pressure way too often on 3-step drops, right, or shotgun catch and throws. That's not supposed to be. The whole purpose of having this West Coast offense is so that your quarterback isn't facing pressure and he can make quick decisions. And all of a sudden, you're still running that offense and you're still getting pressure. Yeah. So something has to give.
Yeah. To me, I would say maybe a 2 for them. I think they definitely have been struggling with injuries, every single player. To start off the season, when you had to rely on some of your backups, Chuma Idoga at the time was doing really well for given the circumstances. So you thought, okay, we're having to play a little musical chair here, but they seem to be holding up or being able to do enough. Like the first game, Arizona, you didn't lose that game because of your O-line, you know? So they were kind of holding it up there. Now you get all your starters back. And yes, I absolutely get the argument where you have to all be one unit, be cohesive, practice together. Everyone needs to be in sync and know exactly like, okay, I know exactly what this guy on my right is going to do, so I don't have to worry about that. Let me focus on this side and vice versa. But at the same time, individually, I've seen it during games. They do get beat one-on-one. Guys that are veterans, guys that you expect a lot more out of them because you've seen it. So it's weird. Like, that's the whole thing that has been very weird to me, when you know what this guy is capable, or a lot of these guys, but then you see them getting beat one-on-one, and that's where I go back to, okay, maybe the whole injury situation, it's affecting them a lot more than you think. Yeah. And that's the only thing I can kind of blame it.
Dogs. They're facing some dudes now. I mean, these defensive fronts that they've played against in the first part of the season have not been easy. I mean, you face some of the best guys in the league. You face arguably one of the best defensive ends, top 3 at least, hands down.
That's a whole combination, because you're facing someone that's really good, and you're hurt too, dangling a little. I think, I don't know.
Khalil Mack had his way against Tyron Smith. I mean, he's also had 6 sacks. I mean, 5 sacks in a game. So I mean, you're talking about somebody who's one of the top pass rushers in most recent history. You're talking about Bosa, not Joey, but Nick Bosa, who's one of the best pass rushers in the game today. You're about to go up against, the best defensive lineman in football this coming week. The following week, you're about to go against the best defensive line in football. So I mean, like, you got your hands full. You have your hands full, but to that point, you have to figure it out, because it doesn't get easier. So we can't sit up here and make excuses about something that's going to increasingly get more difficult.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we technically went over, but I know, went by fast today.
Over?
Let's just real quick throw out our ratings for the last 3 positions. Defensive line, go.
4.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, 4.
Say 4.3. All right. Linebacker room.
2.7.
Oh, wow. I say 3.2.
I was thinking more like 3. Yeah. Around there.
All right.
We round up.
Safeties.
Safeties. I haven't paid enough attention to make that judgment. I really haven't. I apologize, people.
I'd give the safeties. I say 3.8.
Oh.
I give them a 3.8.
Give him a little bump from what you were going to say. Okay.
I think around 3. I mean, there are times where a corner needs some help, some backup, and they're not. Where's your safety? There are times where a guy is wide open and gets into the end zone. Where's your safety? Yeah. So, it's just kind of been. It hasn't been as good as I thought it was gonna be to start off.
Corners,
I'm gonna go ahead and give them a 4, like a 4.4. I feel good about the corners right now. They've done a heck of a job, especially in the absence of their lead dog.
I would say, like around 4.2. Okay. 4.2 or there. They've done a nice job. It's just, again, they have taken a hit with the absence of Trevon Diggs.
special teams.
Oh, special teams has been money.
Yeah.
Money. Brandon Aubrey.
4.9.
Yeah, Brandon Aubrey.
Go
He's two more field goals, consecutive field goals away from setting the record or tying the record.
Tying the record, yeah.
For most consecutive kicks for somebody in their first year. He's killing it. Yeah. Great pickup, front office. I had no faith in you in this.
I don't think anyone did.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it here for Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
That's a nice necklace you have on there.
Thank you. Presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Is the last time we will be working with you. Lord, I had fun with y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks for having us.
For doing the show. We'll see you guys back tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!